The film begins with the introduction of our main character, Tsubaki Hibino, a 15-year-old high school girl. Tsubaki comes from a happy family. Her father owns a photography studio, and her mother is an ordinary housewife. Her younger sister Sakura also lives there. She is a beautiful girl who dresses very stylishly, in contrast to her sister, who appears simple and old-fashioned. Tsubaki was seen getting ready for school in the morning because it was her first day of high school. The mother, who was overjoyed that her first child had started high school, then advised Tsubaki to be active and diligent in her studies. In short, when Tsubaki arrived at her school, she was surprised to see that almost all of the students wore uniforms and had quirky like a chick. Tsubaki, who didn't want to be perceived as flashy, dashed into the school. But as soon as this happened, Tsubaki ran into Kyoda, a male student. Tsubaki immediately apologized for her mistake. And as Tsubaki was putting things back where they belonged, another male student named Nishiki called out to her, prompting Tsubaki to stand up and respond right away. Here, Kyoda noticed that he appeared to be a little shocked and asked about the girl's name. Kyoda and Tsubaki appear to have the same name. Then, as they were chatting, some students who appeared to know Tsubaki Kyoda showed up. It turns out that this Kyoda is one of his school's most well-liked male students. He also seems to have a natural instinct to be a fuckboy. It's clear when he effortlessly guides female students at school. So don't be shocked at Tsubaki, who is a sloppy girl, by the way, thinks Kyoda's behavior is disgusting. When the new student admission ceremony begins, Tsubaki is once again surprised because the guy she thinks is disgusting turns out to be the one with the highest score on the high school entrance exam. It was shown when Kyoda was elected as the new student representative and delivered a speech at the ceremony. After the ceremony, Tsubaki entered her class, where she appeared to be the only one wearing a nerdy outfit among the other students. However, shortly after Tsubaki sat in her chair, Kyoda, the fuckboy, unexpectedly approached her because their seats were next to each other. Kyoda, who innocently approached the girl, began to tease Tsubaki. Tsubaki became irritated by Kyoda's presence and quickly took a pair of scissors from her bag, threatening to cut his hair if Kyoda continued to bother her. Exactly because of this action, all female students who were none other than Kyoda fans became angry and began attacking her. However, Kyoda defended Tsubaki by saying that Tsubaki was his girlfriend starting today, and even this Kyoda kissed Tsubaki, which of course made all the female students in the class shocked. Tsubaki ran home as soon as Kyoda took her first kiss. When she got home, she hoped it was all a dream. The following day, Tsubaki really starts to receive jeers from her classmates, mainly from her female friends. The female classmates intimidate Tsubaki into taking on the role of festival organizer when their class is about to hold a cultural festival. When their teacher subsequently questioned who will join Tsubaki on the committee, Kyoda then offered to serve on the festival committee. Tsubaki was seen holding a class meeting the next day to discuss their spring festival event after the committee selection was completed. But when Tsubaki made a suggestion, no one listened. Instead, they proposed that their class not attend the festival. Tsubaki felt confused. However, shortly after, Kyoda, who had been acting sleepy from the start, told Tsubaki to get closer. Tsubaki approached and Kyoda abruptly stated that he wanted Tsubaki to ask him out. In exchange, Kyoda will assist in the organization of the festival's events. Tsubaki initially refused, but Kyoda was able to convince her that she would be punished if their class failed to show up. In the end, Tsubaki agreed with Kyoda. Kyoda immediately stood up and addressed the rest of the class after hearing Tsubaki ask him out on a date. And because of his popularity, Kyoda was able to invite all of the class students to participate in the festival. After school, Kyoda, who was following Tsubaki, began to quit because Tsubaki didn't say anything after he helped her. Even so, Kyoda isn't bothered because he believes Tsubaki will say it when they date. Tsubaki, on the other hand, insists that she said it to make Kyoda want to help her. Long story short, their class began assisting one another for the spring festival the next day. Tsubaki is also seen here helping a classmate with their hair and yukata. Unexpectedly, Tsubaki's friends seem to really like the way she dresses and does her hair. Then, she was asked by one of her classmates, Arisa, to exchange phone numbers after that. Tsubaki soon made friends in that class. Not long after, her younger sister Sakura arrived at her school in the morning dressed as a wasp, which drew the attention of one of Kyoda's friends. Unfortunately, Sakura actually seems to be interested in Kyoda, Nishiki's friend, so he must be disappointed. The festival event went off without a hitch. Tsubaki could be seen cleaning up unused items until almost the end of the event. Soon after, Kyoda approached her and asked Tsubaki, why does she like to troll herself so much for other people? Tsubaki responded that she was very happy if she could make other people happy. The festival event went off without a hitch. Tsubaki also mentions her father's studio, where she enjoys dressing people up before her father takes their pictures. After saying that, Tsubaki continued by stating that she really wanted to tidy up Kyota's hair because she thought it was messy. Hyota initially refused, but because Tsubaki persisted, Hyota eventually agreed to have his hair done. Tsubaki held Kyota's head and looked at her work, thinking Kyota's hairstyle was much better now. However, Kyota, who was being held, stood up and even intended to kiss her. Tsubaki, on the other hand, immediately stopped him before that happened here. Hyota then asked for the date Tsubaki had previously stated. Hyota told Tsubaki to meet him in front of the station tomorrow at 2 p.m. Tsubaki had returned home after the event. She then went to Sakura's room to borrow one of her clothes. Tsubaki changed her mind while Sakura was looking for clothes for her sister. In the end, she wore her own clothing, which Kyota obviously thought was ridiculous, because in her opinion, Tsubaki's clothes are extremely nerdy. But in the end, Hyota still asks Tsubaki out by watching a romance movie, because he thinks this is how Tsubaki's style is. Tsubaki, on the other hand, refuses because she doesn't like movies. Instead, she invites Kyota to the zoo. As a result, it is known that Tsubaki really adores bears. Following their visit to the zoo, Kyota, who thought Tsubaki's fashion sense was extremely geeky, took the initiative to take her to a clothing store. After buying fashionable clothes for her, Kyota took Tsubaki to his friend's salon. And after being dressed in this manner, the geeky Tsubaki has finally been transformed into a beautiful and elegant woman. When Kyota returned from there, he invited Tsubaki to a karaoke bar. However, when they arrived, he immediately intended to kiss Tsubaki. Tsubaki was enraged by Kyota's impolite behavior and immediately left him alone. Tsubaki, still upset by Kyota's treatment of her as if she were just a toy, was crying while taking out her hairpins on the way home. After returning home, Sakura entered her room without warning and noticed her new outfit. Tsubaki, on the other hand, quickly forbade Sakura from borrowing the clothes. Long story short, the next day it was revealed that Tsubaki actually started to like Kyota. Tsubaki appeared to be jealous when Kyota was seduced by one of the girls in her class. Then, in class, she ran into Kyota, who revealed that he and Nishiki had actually bet on who would get all the school's female students. Kyota then says that he will give up and not bother Tsubaki again because he believes that she is a different girl. Then, when Tsubaki got home from school, she noticed that the clothes Kyota had given her were gone from her coat hanger. The clothes had undoubtedly been borrowed by his sister. Meanwhile, Sakura appears to be going to Kyota's workplace while dressed in her sister's clothes right now. She apparently came to that place with the intention of asking Kyota to teach him to learn. But because Kyota has no feelings for Sakura, he simply ignores her. Even Nishiki, who adores Sakura, makes an effort to catch her attention. Not long after that, Kyota happened to notice Tsubaki outside the cafe. Then he immediately followed her. Kyota, who was already facing Tsubaki, accused her of coming to his workplace to see him, which Tsubaki immediately denied. She claimed she had only come to pick up her sister. But before she could finish, Kyota invited Tsubaki to study with him on Saturday, where on that day, Nishiki and Sakura will also participate in a group study. The day of Saturday had come and Nishiki, Sakura, and Tsubaki had arrived at Kyota's residence, and as they were about to enter Kyota's room, Tsubaki had the opportunity to meet and greet Kyota's father, who claimed that his son had never brought a female friend to his house. Tsubaki is also aware that Kyota appears to be fascinated by outer space. Then, as the four of them talked, Sakura expressed her desire to be taught by Kyota. Nishiki then proposed using their summer vacation time for group study at Kyota's grandfather's villa after hearing that. And sure enough, once summer vacation finally started, everyone began visiting Kyota's grandfather's villa. The four of them had fun playing on the beach when they arrived, though. Tsubaki and her sister intend to go back to the villa after they are done. However, on the way back, Sakura stated that her only reason for studying here was to seduce Kyota because she admired him. Tsubaki left his sister to go back to the villa by herself and went to the beach after that. Then, while she was sitting there, Kyoto approached her and told her that her sister was currently at the villa with Nishiki. Tsubaki, who was concerned that Nishiki would harm her sister, was rushed back to the villa. When she arrived, his sister admitted that she had given up to get Kyota, because Kyota had invited her to the villa. His friend, however, showed up instead. Sakura also added that she had made the decision to date Nishiki, because apparently he was a good man. Tsubaki apparently felt inspired to express her feelings after hearing her sister say that, if indeed he had got feelings for Kyota. When Sakura heard this, she was very supportive of her sister, even suggesting that she express her feelings for Kyota right away. Tsubaki eventually met Kyota at an observatory at night. Tsubaki, on the other hand, looks at the stars before confessing her feelings. After it ended, Kyoto then invited Tsubaki to see the meteor shower that would appear on Christmas Eve the following year. They also vowed to return to this location to witness this rare phenomenon once more. After they made this promise, Tsubaki drew nearer to Kyoto and held his hand before starting to open up about her feelings. So, after Tsubaki mustered the courage to express her feelings, Kyoto pushed Tsubaki's hand away and simply left without responding to Tsubaki's feelings. Tsubaki was therefore upset ever since that day because she believed Kyoto had completely abandoned her. The relationship went downhill from that point forward. And to make matters worse, Kyoto switched seats as if he no longer wanted to know Tsubaki. Kyoto's friend, Nishiki, who is currently dating Sakura, he appears to have felt bad for Tsubaki after seeing Kyoto ignore her. After school, Nishiki went to Tsubaki's house and told her about Kyoto's past. Kyoto appears to be traumatized by the sentence of love. Kyoto used to be known for loving his mother dearly, but on the day of his 8th birthday, she actually abandoned him and went to live with another man. Because of this, Kyoto consistently believes that his birthday is the worst day of the year. Additionally, it is stated here that Kyoto will consider it taboo if a woman expresses her love for him because he already believes that all women are traitors. Sakura, who overheard this, came to the conclusion that her sister had actually been dumped at this point. Tsubaki, on the other hand, refused because she believed she was different from other women. So, with Sakura's help, she attempts to change Kyoto's perception of his birthday while Nishiki starts to prepare a surprise for him. Until Kyoto's birthday in the evening, they then proceeded to their class. However, as they were about to arrive, Arisha noticed this and became curious about what they were doing. Meanwhile, Tsubaki and the others in the class are seen beginning to plan some surprises for Kyoto's birthday. Then, when Tsubaki revealed to everyone in the room that Kyoto was her first love, Arisa entered the classroom unexpectedly and expressed how moved she was and how she understood why Kyoto chooses Tsubaki. After all of the surprise preparations had been completed, Nishiki then contacted Kyoto and invited him to their class. That night, Kyoto went to school, and when he walked into the classroom, everyone startled him. Unfortunately, Kyoto dislikes this type of thing, and it appears that he, too, intends to leave soon. But before he left, Tsubaki dared to express her feelings once more. She also tried to persuade Kyoto not to be too focused on his past emotional pain. He finally melted after hearing those words, and their bond has grown stronger since then. They spend their days together, and like lovers, they spend a lot of time together. They've been dating for a year before they realized it. Tsubaki also decided to abandon her old-fashioned style and transform into a more beautiful woman. Unfortunately, their relationship was not always smooth sailing. Because one day while they were dating in the park, Kyoto's friend, Hanoi, unexpectedly brought a woman known as Nana, Kyoto's ex-lover. Tsubaki also seems to be very envious of Nana's intervention in their relationship. Because as everyone knows, Nana was Kyoto's first love in middle school. Nishiki also claimed that they were an extremely perfect couple back then, when they were in middle school. Tsubaki was visiting a bookstore when she was unexpectedly approached by Nana, who revealed that she was Kyoto's first love. But after realizing that Tsubaki was envious of her, she tried to convince Tsubaki that their relationship was now only that of friends. At the same time, Kyoto had just returned home from school. His father informed him that his mother was being treated at the hospital and asked him to call or visit her because she wanted to hear Kyoto's voice. But Kyoto insisted on not wanting to see his mother because he was already very disappointed. The following day, Tsubaki asked Kyoto to go somewhere while he was in the cafeteria. However, Kyoto refused the invitation because he felt uncomfortable and thought about his mother. Kyoto decided to visit his mother in the hospital after school. However, when he arrived, he was hesitant to go inside. Finally, Kyoto decided to go see Nana because he had received a message from her asking him to meet up. Nana's intention to ask him to meet was revealed after they met. It turns out that this woman wants to fulfill a dream with Kyoto because they agreed to attend the same college, which is why they made that promise. They plan to leave after discussing it. Unfortunately, they met Tsubaki on the way. Tsubaki was obviously envious of the two of them's closeness. Tsubaki undeniably didn't listen to Kyoto's excuse when he tried to chase her down. Then Tsubaki asked to end the relationship because she believed it was drifting further away. Tsubaki's days become lonely after his breakup with Kyoto, until one day she received a message from Hanoi asking her to be his temporary photo model. It was obviously very difficult for Tsubaki to smile at the time because her feelings were upset because of her recent breakup with Kyoto. Then, as Tsubaki took a break, she noticed that someone was doing her hair, which presumably piqued her interest. As a result, Tsubaki then requested that Hanoi hire her as a hairdresser. Finally, Hanoi agreed to let Tsubaki work for him because he needed workers. Tsubaki, on the other hand, must first be able to smile in order to be the model. It appears that Tsubaki's photo was published in a fashion magazine, and today it certainly surprised all of her friends. Nishiki attempted to show Kyoto the picture after spotting him walking by, but Kyoto left right away because he wanted to see Tsubaki in person. But as he stands in front of the salon, he even runs into Hanoi, who tells him that Tsubaki is now desperately trying to become a woman deserving of him. On the eve of Christmas, Nana contacted Kyoto, who was working at the time, and asked him to meet somewhere. Tsubaki, on the other hand, is styling her mannequin hair, showing that she has made her decision. She revealed that she did not want to attend college and instead wanted to focus on becoming a hairdresser. The scene then shifts to a conversation between Kyoto and his father, who expresses his love for his mother and wishes to forgive all of his mistakes. So these words moved Kyoto's heart, and after a long time, Kyoto finally met his mother. After meeting his mother, Kyoto dashed off to a location, certain that Tsubaki was waiting for him. Additionally, before going there, Kyoto had time to call Nana and inform her that he couldn't come. Tsubaki is also seen helping Hanoi as she styles a customer's hair. Then, after the customers had left and the shop had closed, Hanoi agreed to drive Tsubaki somewhere. Hanoi then asked about Tsubaki's intention to visit this location after arriving. Tsubaki also explained that they had promised to see a meteor shower together in this location a year ago. Tsubaki also wants to give Kyoto one last chance. If he doesn't come tonight, he will let Kyoto go. Hanoi could only hope for the best for their relationship after hearing that. At the same time, Kyoto, who had missed the train, was forced to run to that location. When Kyoto arrived and saw Tsubaki waiting for him, he immediately hugged her and told her how much he adored Tsubaki. Tsubaki wakes up happy because she now completely belongs to Kyoto. Tsubaki had no idea that her first kiss, first love, and first meeting someone special were all with Kyoto.